This is the topic solving a quadratic equation needing simplification. So basically, anytime you have an equation to solve, you want to get it as simplified as possible. That's just going to make it less likely that you make a mistake and just make it easier. So looking at this equation, 2v squared plus 17v plus 39 equals the quantity v plus 3 squared. First thing that I notice is that I need to do something about this guy. We need to square that binomial. So we have a little formula shortcut that tells us that this is going to be v squared plus 3v, but then double it, so 6v plus 9. If you need to, just off to the side or whatever, you can write it out like this and then just, distribute or FOIL, and you'll get the same thing. So 2v squared plus 17v plus 39 is equal to v squared plus 6v plus 9. So now we're going to get all our terms on one side so that we can factor. And I like my squared term to be positive, so I'm going to move everything over here to the left. So I'm going to subtract v squared from both sides, and then subtract 6v, and then subtract 9. Okay, so let's see, v squared plus 11v plus 30 equals 0. So now we want to factor, and this is the trickiest part. Thankfully, our v squared does not have a coefficient other than 1, right? It's understood that it's a 1v squared. So that's going to make this a little bit easier. So we want to find two numbers that multiply to the constant to 30. So that's going to be our product. And then those two numbers also at the same time need to add to the b, the coefficient on the linear term, so in this case 11. And I always kind of do this little cross, but however you want to write it out is totally fine. So I put the product in the top and then the sum in the bottom, and I start thinking about numbers that multiply to 30. And you might see immediately the two numbers that multiply to 30 and add up to 11. That will happen as you practice. You'll get through this part a little quicker. But I'm just going to start right now. 1 times 30, okay? 1 plus 30 is 31. That's not 11. Okay, so we'll keep going. 2 times 15. 2 plus 15 is 17. Also not 11. 3 times 10. 3 plus 10 is 13. We're getting closer. Still, though, not 11, right? So these pairs don't work. 4 doesn't go into 30. Oh, but 5 does. 5 times 6. Oh, that's going to work. 5 plus 6 is 11. Yay! Okay, and it doesn't matter if you think of the 5 or the 6 first, but positive 5, positive 6. And since we have our coefficient on our squared term is understood to be 1, that means that we don't have to go through the whole process of grouping and like finding common factors and blah blah blah. We're just going to get the two factors v plus 5, v plus 6. So we're kind of doing a guess and check, but it's always going to work when you have just a plain v squared or x squared. And if you're still feeling not terribly confident about factoring, always multiply back out your factors to check it. That also will help you kind of see how the factoring works. So it'll help you learn how to factor in addition to actually just checking that part of the problem. So now we set each of these factors equal to 0, and we're almost done. So we'll get negative 5 and negative 6. And we can check each of those into our original equation, going back to this original guy before we did anything to make sure we didn't make any mistakes at all, and just check each number, each value for v individually.